how to appropriately price your government proposals. When it comes to pricing any government contracts, here's where you must begin. Number one, this is key, is you must outline all of your expenses. List every single expense, all of them. All of your expenses. Let's take a product. So I saw recently that the government wanted one of those like ATV utility vehicles. ATV, who hasn't come across one of these? So let's say, for the sake of this video, that the ATV that the military wants is $20,000, okay? So the ATV is $20,000. There's going to be tax. There's going to be shipping. Ask them, are there any other fees? Is there a fee if you use a credit card? What are all of the fees for the product? So when you're looking at a product, it's not, oh, I just need pens. What's the cost of the pen? I just need double hotel rooms. These are all things that the government purchases. The government purchases pens on GPO.gov. The government purchases a lot of hotel rooms on Unison, on Sam.gov, as well as state and local. So you have to make sure anytime you are going after a product, identify all of the expenses. There was somebody who had won a golf cart. And for this golf cart, they learned that they were kind of weird with credit cards. There was some additional fees and it ate into their profit. Now, what's amazing about this particular person is they went forward and continued with the opportunity. But we want to make sure ahead of time we identify every single expense when it comes to a product. At a minimum, the cost for the product, tax, shipping, is there a credit card fee? Is there any kind of fee because it's going to Hawaii? We have contracts in Hawaii. It's going to Guam. They're the two young guys I interviewed who won porta potty contracts in Guam. Now, the next part when it comes to pricing, people want to know, how do I show my profit? How do I show this? Where's my profit come in, Kizzy? And, do I have to pay this ahead of time? Yes, the government is not going to pay you for the product. They're not going to pay you to staff at the call center. They're not going to pay you ahead of time to clean the building. If we are all very clear on this, type yes. This company produces highlighters. For every highlighter they produce, they make money. Let's say the highlighter costs them 50 cents, minus all of their expenses, manufacturing, marketing, shipping, all of that, right? Maybe they make $1 on every one of these. I mean, that's amazing. So these are some things to think about and keep in mind. What's key is, what is your profit? That's what people want to know. What is your profit? So you have to first start out expenses plus profit versus. Your profit is what you decide on. And I know this can be very hard to lean into. My philosophy is try your best to make at least $1,000 on everything. And there's a reason for this. I'm not going to say everything should be 5%, triple, double, 10 times. And there's a reason for it. So the first part of pricing is, what are your expenses plus profit versus what did they pay in the past? Note the following. You want to contact the point of contact, whether it's a state level contract like Deborah just won a $300,000 contract in Buffalo, New York, or Winford is working on a catering contract in Charleston. You're going to want to ask the following. What did you pay in the past for this? What is your contract? What was the contract number? What was the name of the incumbent? You always want to ask this. You can email, you can call, because pricing is expense plus profit versus what they paid in the past versus the market. So let's go back to this UTV. So let's say Army's like, hey, we need one of those UTV Polaris things. And you're like, okay, it's $20,000. Great, got it. You get all the tax, the shipping, all of the fees, and let's say it comes to $27,000. That's the bare bone. That's what it's going to cost you to buy this. Yes, you must buy it from Polaris, hypothetically, to then give it to the Army if and when you win. So you may say, well, shoot, I want to double my money. Who would not want to double their money? So let's take a look at this. 27,000 times 2. So you're telling me that taxpayer dollars are going to be used by the Army to spend $54,000 on a Polaris. No, it's not. Because that's not what the market bears. And what did they pay in the past? If the market is maybe $30,000, okay, cool. But if the market is nowhere near 54,000, you can't charge 54,000. So you may make 3,000. Potentially you say, listen, I'm gonna mark it up 3,000 because Kizzy said $1,000. I believe $1,000 profit is very, very reasonable. So now you make this hypothetical $30,000. So now you're charging the government $30,000 for this UTV. And this is where the real issue sets in, mindset. Because out here, well, I don't want to do all this work for $3,000. I didn't get involved in this for $3,000. But you drive to work and you wait to be paid for 2 weeks. I mean, some of you are spending a lot of money on daycare. I don't have any children. I've heard about daycare prices. I am blown away. When did that happen? But bidding on an opportunity to sell a UTV or some kind of product to the federal government and making $3,000 is, oh, I don't want that. That's a bigger issue. That has nothing to do with pricing. That has to do with a rotten mindset. If you understand what I'm saying, type yes and make sure you share this live. When it comes to pricing, another mistake people make is thinking, oh, that's not enough, that's not enough. This is not a treasure hunt. This is not the treasure coast of Florida where literally there is sunken treasure. And I just saw that a guy found something the other day from like the 1300s or something. This is not that. This is business. What is wrong with making $3,000? I think that's amazing. So when you flip it and it's like, dang, and then you focus on what is my goal? I mean, I hear it all the time, Kizzy, I want to bring in $100,000. I want $100,000 in contracts. Okay, well, right there, that's 30. We got 70 to go. Or you say, I want to bring in $100,000 in profit. Okay, well, that's 3,000. I'll show you. That's 3,000, 97,000 to go. But when it's looked at, oh, it's only $3,000, like it's going to give you radiation poisoning. So then you see this is bigger than pricing. So when it comes to this example, you also want to look at the evaluation criteria. How is the government going to make their decision? Doesn't matter, BidNet, Unison, SAM, state, local, some other paid service. It does not matter. What matters is the government always will tell you, this is how we're making our decision. We are basing it on, typically it's lowest price technically acceptable for products, but not always. Hear me out. If they say lowest price technically acceptable, then they're saying to you, we want a discount. I want a discount. Bath and Body, love Bath and Body. They have an app. You go on the app, your codes are there, you scan it. The more you spend, you get discounts. I don't know if they mail stuff. We all want a discount. Who doesn't want a discount? Discounts are not exclusive just to Bath and Body Works. Not at all. The government wants the discount too. So if you find out they're saying, yeah, we want a UTV, but we don't want to pay a lot for it, then you cannot take a price of $27,000 and say, oh, I'm gonna charge them $100. I mean, you can, and you're going to lose. But this is not the loser network. This is GovCon winners, right? Winnerswaybook.com. We are winners as Deborah shared, hit a $300,000 contract last week in Buffalo, New York. If it was not for your encouragement, I would have quit after my first loss. And for pricing, it's not that you have to have all of this experience. It's not that you have to have a ton of cash. It's being aware. Because I want to break down something. And what I'm going to share with you all, it's serious. So I was notified about a individual is caught up with the Department of Labor. So there are some contracts, be it lawn maintenance, janitorial, snow removal, fire extinguisher maintenance, elevator maintenance, right? These are service-based opportunities that the government spends billions on every year, that somebody will win the opportunity and then they have somebody else execute the work. They've subcontracted it out. One of the areas that is very neglected in this space on the conversation of pricing is the Services Act. The Services Act is an act that you all should make sure you're very, 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 very familiar with. In essence, it ensures that certain labor categories, people are paid, I would say, these Kizzy summary, people are paid an equitable rate. That you don't win a contract for janitorial and say, gotcha, I'm gonna pay you $725. Gotcha, I'm gonna pay you $745. And it also ensures that people receive fringe benefits. So it's under Department of Labor, the Service Contract Act. So one thing about this when it comes to pricing is there may be times you're going through an opportunity and you see this attachment that says SCA, Sierra Charlie Alpha, SCA. And it'll list all of these categories and all of these prices. So this particular person won a contract that was SCA, meaning they had to pay a certain wage and fringe benefits for the position. The fringe benefits, I know at one point it was $4.80. It changes annually, so it may be a little over $4.80. For the purpose of our time together, it's giving you an idea of what you need to pay. So it's the Services Act may say for janitorial level 1, you must pay $11 an hour and you must include your fringe benefits, or you have to offer them an equivalent to the fringe benefit dollar amount that is currently the going rate. So I believe the fringe is $4.98 or a little more than $4.98. So these are for contracts where it'll have the requirement on Sam.com, SCA, and you can give the cash benefit in fringe, that's fringe, or you can give them the benefits as long as it meets that dollar amount and it meets the benefits that they say that are required, okay? It can come across as very complicated, and in reality it's not. So when it comes to pricing, step number 1 is you have to list all of your expenses. So it would be, what are you paying somebody hourly? Did you take in consideration vacation, state tax? Is there any county tax when you're doing payroll? Payroll fees, fringe, general and administrative, overhead. Did you take any and all of these in consideration? So this particular person subbed it out. So it's, hey, I won the contract. ZZZ Consulting, made that up. ZZZ Consulting, they're going to actually do the services. Got my money, bing, bang, boom, moving on, right? Well, I suspect ZZZ Consulting upset somebody, because next thing you know, Department of Labor came after them and found that ZZZ was underpaying their people. Services Act indicates what you are to pay. ZZZ was underpaying, and they darn sure wasn't including any fringe. So who do you think that impacted? The prime, the person who reached out to me. Now they're under investigation. So when it comes to, well, what do I put as my price? What do I put as my profit? I don't really know. I'm not sure. I went on ChatGPT and it gave me this number, and I even found out what they paid in the past. You have to identify every single expense that you have for services, every single expense for wage determination, all of the expenses. I have a spreadsheet that I use. I like to include the fringe. I include the fringe. I do not offer benefits because I find it's much easier just to pay them out. There are companies that will help you, especially if you are in the numbers of 150 and you just like say, I don't want to be involved. But the situation is a lot of these wage determination contracts are connected to janitorial, snow removal, lawn maintenance, a lot of these areas that people talk about. These are quick wins, middleman, triple, double, quadruple, what have you? And then you end up under investigation by the Department of Labor. I've been in this space since 2007. I've never been under investigation by Department of Labor. So I don't want that to happen for you all. So this is more than just pricing, because the pricing that they submitted was beautiful. However, how you avoid additional situations. Let's go back to the ATV. You can say, oh, well, I got the price quote from Polaris. It's going to be $27,000. I only added 3 because you had talked about market rates. Well, do you have anything in writing? Do you have a price quote in writing? If you're going to work with said janitorial company or whoever, lawn maintenance, do you have in writing, this is what you will be paid? You need to follow the requirements in the contract. You will be held responsible if the requirements are not followed through. We can remove you at any time. Here's a purchase order dictating what you will be paid. Here's how I will pay you. It seems that pricing is its own thing. Like as add a markup, and it's a little more than that. Also, for those of you who you are a sub, please make sure you are made aware of all of the requirements, because the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a position where you are getting in trouble because the prime contractor didn't tell you its services, or you had to use a particular product, or that you had to pay something else in your rates. If the opportunity doesn't really talk about wage determination, then you can 1099 them. Then when it comes to pricing, it's about how do you give it to them. You don't write it on a sticky note. You don't just put it in an email. Okay, I'm responding to your opportunity for kitchen equipment. Here's my price. You don't throw it in a Word document. You have to give them the price according to the instruction. You can upload the documents into ChatGPT or your favorite chat feature and just ask, how do I submit the pricing? Typically, you will submit the pricing in an Excel sheet where you can show the math. Sometimes they will ask you to submit it on a standard form. So sometimes you'll see a PDF. It's a standard form, and on that standard form, it may say lawn maintenance, Monroeville, blank line, lawn maintenance, Jefferson County line, and you're going to put your sum. The numbers that you give the government include your profit. It is vital when you are doing pricing. Okay, back to the formula. It's expense plus profit versus what did they pay in the past. Sometimes they may not have ever purchased it in the past. What have other agencies paid in the past? Versus what will the market bear? If you know for cybersecurity training, you can charge more, terrific. Versus evaluation criteria. What are they using? Are they saying we want the lowest price? Are they saying, oh, we want the best value? What are they telling you? Versus mindset. If you believe, no, I want to make 10,000. That ain't enough money. I don't want to make 700. That ain't enough. My profit's only going to be 300. Ain't enough. That's something you got to think about. Because what is your financial goal? Is it to have $1 million on contract? Is it to bring in $100,000 in profit? Is it to bring in $50,000 in profit? Who knows? Only you do. Only you do. There's no reason you can't win. There's no reason you can't meet your goal in 30 days, 90 days, a year by following these steps. I've received all kinds of messages. Hey, I won this contract, $1 million contract, and they're saying I'm responsible for taking care of the trash and I don't think I'm responsible, or hey, I won this contract, but they're saying I didn't take care of the contractor appropriately, or the pricing that the contractor gave me is now changed. All of this is definitely part of the learning tax and it's noise, but at the end of the day, it's avoidable. In your statement of work, it outlines whether or not you take out the trash. On the front end, having a subcontractor agreement, an independent contractor agreement, a purchase order locks in everything with the contractor. So they can't say, well, you know, we charge a fee if we have to wait more than 10 minutes. Well, that's beautiful, but you darn sure didn't bring that up before, and I'm not paying you that. It's to minimize surprises. You can come up with the best pricing. You can have a little formula, cute little Excel sheet. Your SF form is beautiful. But when you win it and your pricing's wrong, you're going to be angry. We're not here to be angry. This is not a rage bait video. This is reality of business. If you have questions, let me know. If you want clarification on pricing, let me know. I have paid options where you can ask questions. I'll give you guys the link that you can set up a call with my team. You can go to findcontractsfaster.com, findcontractsfaster.com, and we have Find Contracts Faster /free for a really cool download. So that's the best place to start. So the other part of pricing is you really have to look at the market. What did they pay in the past? You can go on Sam.Gov and look. You can go on USA Spend. You can use ChatGPT and put what has the federal government paid in the past for janitorial, for porta potties, for flooring, for training. You can put all of that in there. I was working with one of my paid coaching students, and we put in there for this opportunity in Michigan, and sure enough, it put everything in there. It listed the incumbent, it listed the pricing, and it provided so much information, because what you're looking to do with all of this is to use it to further win. A lot of people don't like to talk about pricing. It's kind of like people don't like to talk about what they really make. So that is one reason people don't talk about it. I'll tell you all day about pricing. I feel very uncomfortable saying like, you should add this %. I firmly believe at a minimum, everything should give you $1,000. You make $1,000 on it, you're good. So if you make $20,000 on it, you're real good. I would say as we come into the fourth quarter, you got to bid. Networking is great. Networking is great during the first quarter, October, November, December, part of January, February. This time of the year, agencies are buying. So it's bid. So pricing is you identifying expense, profit, what they paid in the past, what the market bears, evaluation criteria. Look at your mindset. Look at what you're looking to make in total as a government contractor. The other piece is, what am I getting paid? I strongly suggest during your kickoff, you go over, okay, according to the document, according to the state of Michigan, I am to be paid this way. I have to upload into your state system. I must submit into PI. I must submit into IPP. I must send you a fax. I think gpo.gov, you have to do a fax. I must email this person. Okay, great. Now I want to know, when can I send this? Do I send it after you've checked off and approved and accepted what I've delivered? Is it a certain amount of time? I would ask them and make a proposition. Go to your point of contact, set up a call with them and ask, hey, I just want to confirm, may I submit an invoice this week? And if so, who else do I need to involve? It's as easy as that. And they'll let you know. Some agencies will say, oh, of course, yeah, you can invoice whenever. We'll pay you ahead of time. Others may not. Every single one is different. At the end of the day, this is your business. The approach that I take is the approach that I take. It doesn't mean you have to do every single thing the way I do it. It's just a matter of taking these techniques for pricing. What are all the expenses? What is the profit you want to add? What did they pay in the past? What does the market bear? What are the evaluation criteria? What is your mindset around this? What are your financial goals? Apply that to every single opportunity. You will have nothing but DJ Khaled's win, 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 until, somebody accuses him of something. But until then is win, win, win. The more challenging, the more unusual the opportunity is, the higher profit you can add. The more the market is to pay for it, then the more you can add. Don't let pricing get to you. I'd asked a question in my public Facebook group. I said, hey, I want to give away a bunch of free stuff. What would you like? And somebody said, I got my cage code. I'm taking a look. I'm at everything. I just really don't know where to go. I don't know if it's fear, if it's anxiety. I just don't really even know where to go. And I see pricing as being a part of that distortion. All it is like, okay, I have to do pricing. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just have to make sure I make money. So if you make $1,000, at least $1,000 on every single opportunity, you're doing amazing. If you clear $150,000 on one opportunity, that is even more amazing. But getting so wrapped up, then you're gonna be like this, and you're not gonna want to do anything. And I have been there. I have done that, where I was so debilitated by fear and by just negative thoughts, and I don't know how to do it. And even with ChatGPT and AI and other things, it can seem very daunting and overwhelming. But so is your current situation. And the reason you're here and you're interested in government contracting is to change your situation. Whether it's for your kids, it's for your significant other, your husband, your wife, you want a new roof, you want to take your kids on a Disney cruise, you want to go on a Virgin cruise with just you and whoever you with, you want a BBL, you want to see Beyonce. It doesn't matter. What's key is that you sincerely know in your deepest soul that everything is possible and there's no reason you can't win. That's what's vital. So even if that's where you are, pricing and kickstarting the proposal, just keep in mind expenses versus profit, what they paid in the past, what the market will bear, evaluation criteria, mindset, and your financial goals. We all want to use resources for something different. Some people want to have a lot of jewelry. Some people want to enhance their figure. Some people want to pay for college. Here in Muskegon, Michigan, there's this beautiful farmer's market every summer on Saturdays. And this guy has a whole display of flowers. All these beautiful flowers. I mean, you can get this big old bouquet of flowers for $20, huge, massive. And I asked him, I said, what made you start this? It was a side gig. He said his kids were getting to the age that they were getting close to college. He needed to make more money. I don't remember what he did full time, but it wasn't florist. And next thing you knew, he started the flower business. There's always a different reason, but it's about taking that action and being willing to fail. That's all it is. So if that resonated with you, make sure and heart, share, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Find contracts faster. Find contracts faster. Find contracts faster /free. If you haven't checked it out, winnerswaybook.com. I love and adore each and every one of you. And I can't wait to hear about more and more wins. This is so exciting.